Winning Edge Investments. Treat betting like a business. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. Dean Evans, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
Very well, and I'm still singing the song In the Congo. Thanks for last week tipping it at, it was good, juicy each way.
Yeah, no, it ended up a really, really nice price, and another good result for that horse with us. We've sort of backed it a couple of times on the show with the listeners, and I'm very pleased with that horse. My members of my trial spy service, we actually backed it at $26 in futures a couple of months ago, so it was a really nice result.
Yeah, it was a great result. That's why you need to certainly go to winningedgeinvestments.com and be a part of the team. Now, we're going to focus in on the Gimcrack and the Breeders' Plate. I've said it a few times this week. They're so intriguing, aren't they?
Yeah, look, they're just really exciting this time of year. The first 2-year-olds, they're both Group 3 races, and all the big trainers target the race. And we've had slipper winners like Piero come out of these first 2-year-old races, so they really kick things off in an interesting fashion.
We've seen, let's start with the Gimcrack being the second race over the 1,000. We've seen some of these official trials, and Coolangatta was one that just stood up, but now has to overcome barrier 10.
Yeah, no, she really did stand out, and to give you a bit of insight into sort of how I look at the times, the par times are basically between -0.1 and -4.6 for the 9 main 2-year-old trials at Kensington on 20 September, which are the main sort of focus. She ran a -1.4 with the last 6 minutes a positive 0.2, which the times are usually minus for the 2-year-olds just because they're very new, they're very young. So it's rare to have them in the positives this early in the season. But she ran a plus 0.2 for the last 600, which is the 6th quickest last 600. She won by 3 lengths. Just the way that she sort of sat third and strode past the leader was very impressive under little pressure. And, I have to say that was a very impressive trial from Coolangatta, and she sort of looks like the Enthar of this year. And Enthar was able to sort of navigate a wider draw and just bolt in last year. And I think Coolangatta could well do the same.
Dean, when you look at a race like this, do you mark a negative the draw?
I actually think, sometimes with the 2-year-olds, drawing out a bit's not too bad if they're slightly slow away and they can sort of stay out of trouble. It obviously depends a bit on how the track plays, but there's many years where they're able to sort of sit wide and win, and the best 2-year-old wins. So the draw is actually not something that I factor in enormously. Apart from sometimes if you have a horse that sort of trials and it's caught 3 or 4 wide without covering the trial, and then it gets a nice cozy inside draw, and you think there could be some big improvement there. Apart from there, I focus more on the trials, the times, the style of the horse, and also the trainer-jockey combination, because, it's interesting in this race. What I can tell you from assessing all the winners over the last 10 years of both races is it's very much the top trainers and top jockeys do win this race year in, year out.
Well, you can't take away Mar Eustace and James McDonald on Coolangatta. That's plenty of upside. What are some of the others in the Gimcrack that you've followed?
Look, I think Dressana is the key danger. She jumped sort of just okay from a wide gate in the trial. She was outpaced and settled a fair way back. And she stormed home out wide, ran a -2.6 overall time, but she was +1 for the last 600, which was the 3rd quickest. And the Snowdens are, they're very good with these 2-year-olds. They've won 4 breeders or Gimcracks in the last 10 years. And so that is a very good stable to follow in a race like this. I actually think that those 2 horses are basically the only 2 that I'm expecting to win, and something would have to go wrong for anything else to win, in my opinion.
Coolangatta right now at about $2 and Dressana at $6. Any thoughts on Casey Fogden's Filly Wild Botanica?
Well, look, she ran the quickest time. She was a bit slow away and was pushed to lead in the rails, and she stuck on well to win, ran a -0.1 and a +0.7 last 600, which was 5th quickest. So on times, very good. The couple of negatives for me, she's got a tongue tie on. No 2-year-old has won with a tongue tie on the last 10 years either of these races. Look, Casey's a really, really exciting, good young trainer, but she hasn't trained a black type winner before. And when I do go through the results to this race. It's always the absolute top-line trainers. It's hard to get these 2-year-olds ready. I thought she trialled well, but it was also her second trial, was the other 2-year-olds were having their first trial, and so they'll have more improvement in Wild Botanica.
Yep.
And so, look, she's right in on times, but I'd just bet around her personally.
All right, so 2 and 4 pretty clean there in the Gimcrack. The Breeders is a bit different.
It is. It's very different. It's certainly wide open. I couldn't talk you out of a number of them. If I had to put one on top, I'm actually leaning towards Zambezi River right down the bottom. He was sort of slow to get going. He hugged the rail, finished through the middle, and was solid for second, beating 1.8 lengths in his trial, minus 3.9 and minus 0.6 last 600, which was the 11th quickest. Chris Waller, there was a time early in his training career where he'd never trained a 2-year-old winner before December, but all of a sudden now he's got 3 of these early 2-year-old races on his resume. The Breeders or the Gimcrack, and James McDonald's ridden 3 of the last 4 winners of the Gimcrack Breeders. So, it's a very strong combination, these two, and I think they jump out of the ground from the first trial to the race, I've found. And so I've got Zambezi River on top from a very kind draw, barrier 2.
$5 right now at Bet365. We've spoken to a few trainers around their runners. A psychiatrist is one that I think Gerald Ryan rates, but is he up to the quality of this race? Kaboo is the favourite here for Gabe Waterhouse and Adrian Bott. Is that a stable that you relate well to when the youngsters are debuting?
Oh, absolutely. The Gay Waterhouse stable, they've dominated this race, and they've won 4 editions, although they haven't won one since 2014. But the stable always go very well. I think Kaboo, was probably the most impressive of the 2-year-old trial. It sort of jumped all right, was pushed to lead, kicked away by 3.3 lengths and minus 1.1, the last section on minus 0.8. So, I think Kaboo is certainly the big danger to Zambezi River. And Psychiatrist, it led its trial pretty comfortably, but it won under Ryan. It was quite green in the straight and on the turn. It ran a minus 3.4 with a last section on minus 2.3. They put a lugging bit on that might help with the greenness. But on time, Psychiatrist probably has a fair bit to do to turn the tables on the likes of Zambezi River and Kaboo.
Okay, so running through them, the Gimcrack, the second race, at numbers 2 and 4 there, Coolangatta and Drasana, and in the Arrowfield Breeders' Plate, 14 Zambezi River at around $5 right now, and the other is Kaboo, number 4. You can gain more by being a part of the family. WinningEdgeInvestments.com. There's tips, there's ratings from professional punters throughout the spring, and gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. Dean, I hope the good fortune continues, and we urge our listeners to go to winningedgeinvestments.com. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Have a great Saturday.